False rumors are often spread during wartime. Brothers, this is war.
Hey, what's poppin'? It's your boy Jay the Comedian. How y'all doing today? Man, it's been a while. I've missed you. Have you missed me? Because I miss looking into those beautiful corners of your eyes. Look at them. They're gorgeous. They ain't got no crust, no eye boogers, or nothing. Looks good. And if you haven't gotten any compliments on the corner of your eye, you're welcome. If you really want to thank me, just say thank you. Or you can subscribe if you're not already. Anyway, this is an ExJw video. Like the video, comment, and hopefully this video can be seen by as many people as possible, because that's what we do in the ExJw community. We get the message out. Anyway, today I come to you because I've seen this little video by our good friend and governing body member, David Splain. And he's apparently saying that it's a war between the Jehovah Witnesses and the ExJws or something like that. But anyway, the message is very clear. He doesn't like ex-Jehovah Witnesses. So I think we should probably sit back and look into this little video he put out. You want to do that? Come on, let's do it. Let go.
I'll play that again.
Okay, before we even get started, let me first acknowledge the elephant in the room, and we're going to go ahead and ignore the fact that David Splain looks like the evil insurance boss that fired Mr. Incredible, and we're going to just focus on the message, okay? Now, in this video, he makes several clear statements about what their goal is as far as what the Jehovah Witnesses want from their members. And what they want from their members is la 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 la, to, you know, be clear. But let's listen to him talk about it. Now, of course, I edited some of this footage, but the reason I did that is because, you really want to watch 30 minutes of David Splain? No. But I selectively picked out the parts that I think are the most crazy, and these are the parts that I would like to respond to. So, here we go.
The devil can use an outright attack. He can use persecution to try to batter the structure of the Christian congregation, but sometimes he uses rot from within, a subtle means to attack us. So in this talk, we're not going to discuss persecution. We're going to discuss two of the subtle means Satan uses to weaken our faith: apostasy and negative reports about Jehovah's Witnesses in the media.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. So, to talk about apostasy in the Jehovah Witness organization, to be an apostate is literally the worst thing you can do, which is crazy to me because I can instantly think of like several different things that you can do that's worse than apostasy. Like, I don't know, beating up somebody who's disabled, or putting like pineapple on pizza, you know, like truly horrific things like that. You know, it's kind of meanie. But according to the Jehovah Witnesses, the definition for an apostate is somebody who's a liar, who's mentally diseased, who's a dog walking through my shop, and a child of Satan. Those are the things that describe an apostate. Now, that's the definition that they say, but their real definition is anyone who speaks negatively of the organization. Not any ex-member who speaks negatively of the organization. That's an apostate. The real, like, actual definition of an apostate is somebody who simply leaves a political party or a religion and either, you know, goes to a different one or just leaves in general. But the word apostate isn't looked down as being that negative and being that horrible. The only time it's really looked as being that bad is inside of the Jehovah Witness organization. Nobody ever goes up to somebody like, oh my God, you left your political association? Now you're an independent? Oh, disgusting. How could you? You apostate. Only the Jehovah Witnesses look at the word apostate and have so much disdain for it. Just them, nobody else. But the part that I really want you to listen to and pay attention to is when they say negative media coverage. Just think about that for a second. He's basically saying that anything negative you hear about the organization from the media, don't listen to it. It's bad. You need to cut it out and just la 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 la.
So first, let's talk about apostasy, and we'll call it spiritual poison. Now think about poison. What's the best way to avoid being poisoned? Well, we have to recognize poison when we see it and then avoid it. And the same principle applies to teachings that could destroy our faith.
Okay, let's talk about poison. See, the thing about poison is it can be clear, odorless, tasteless, and it's pretty much no way of knowing that there's poison in something unless you actually drink it, you know? Because then when you drink it, then we all know poison, it destroys the body, it breaks it down, it kills you, you know? It's very, very destructive, and it's very, very bad for you. Now, this is nothing new. This is something that everybody knows about poison. Poison is so dangerous and so destructive that you actually don't even need to actually take it to be scared of it. You know what I mean? It's so bad that if somebody tells you that poison is in something, you're not going to say, well, either you break out a chemistry set or I'm going to drink it. No, you steer clear of it because you don't even want to take a chance of accidentally drinking poison. Now I want you to think about that, because couldn't that be used in a way where somebody is trying to manipulate you? Meaning basically like, if I had some Kool-Aid and I didn't want nobody else drinking my Kool-Aid, I'd tell them, hey, don't you drink that Kool-Aid. It has poison in it. And only the reason I'm able to drink it is because I've been drinking it for years and I built up an immunity to it, so the poison don't affect. But don't you drink it now, because it'll kill you it'll kill you quick as a doorknob. That makes no sense, but it that quick. Just think about that. Is he trying to steer you away from something that's physically dangerous to you? Or is he trying to scare you from taking something that could actually wake you up? The information that people who are ex-Jehovah Witnesses give out, it's usually true. A lot of times it was printed and published by the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, or it came directly out of their mouth and we're calling them out on it. So it's kind of hard to fight against that. And when you don't want to have people looking into something that could possibly wake them up or could possibly make it really hard for you to, answer those questions, you tell them it's dangerous. You scare them away from it. Because if you can scare somebody from doing something, that's the best thing ever. Because after a while, it's not you telling them that, hey, that's dangerous. It's them. And they'll pass it on down to the generation. Hey, I was once told that there's poison in there, so I'm not going to drink it. And I suggest you don't drink it either. And that's how they get you. Because the information that ex-Jehovah Witnesses put out is not poison. It's the opposite of poison. It's adrenaline. It's adrenaline straight to the heart, because as soon as you get it, you don't fall down to sleep in death. You wake up. That's why he don't want you drinking it. He's trying to scare you from drinking it by telling you it's poison, knowing that most people don't want to have anything to do with poison, thus making it easy for him and the organization to continue to control you.
And some who aren't really apostates can cause just as much trouble as the apostates do by their negative talk and criticism. Brothers, we need to be on the alert. This is serious. Suppose that, out of curiosity, you get into a discussion forum with individuals who claim to be Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. You don't know. You've never met them. And someone starts asking questions. What did you think of last month's broadcast? Did you really find it encouraging? Or do you think the brothers who write Watchtower articles are living in the real world? I wonder if they realize just how hard it is out here. And then a few others join in with their own negative comments. Now, you don't know whether these individuals are apostates or just brothers and sisters who are in serious spiritual trouble. But does it matter? How does it make you feel? When you leave the forum, do you feel upbuilt? Determined to expand your ministry? More convinced than ever that Jehovah has an organization that you love and that you're delighted to be a part of. You feel honored to be a part of that organization. Or does the experience leave you sad, uneasy, uncomfortable?
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Going to a forum and basically talking about a legit issue you've experienced inside the Jehovah Witness organization. Apparently, it is wrong to do that. It is wrong to go out and get off your chest something you have a problem with. It is something wrong with you venting about a legit discrepancy you've noticed within the organization. There's something bad about that. Can you believe that? Because it sounds like to me, the only way you can talk about this organization is if it's in a positive light. Because the more I hear him talk, the more it seems like he doesn't care if you had a problem inside the organization. He doesn't care if it's a hard thing for you. He doesn't care if you're suffering mentally, emotionally, physically. He doesn't care. It sounds like Mr. Splain only cares about how it makes the organization look. Not about you, just how it makes the organization look. Do you feel better when you leave? Do you feel? No, nobody wants to find out bad things about something that they've committed a bunch of time, energy, and effort to. That's common sense. But it comes down to priorities. If you are starting to question the organization because of things you've learned and things you've seen, how is that a bad thing? Anytime you spend energy and effort, love, emotions, just everything that goes into being a Jehovah's Witness and being inside this organization, everything that you have to give, if you find that you could be wasting that, or it could be wrong, or it could be something better you could be doing with your time, a certain happiness that you're missing out on, if you learn that, that demands questions to be answered. It doesn't matter how it makes the organization look. We need to find out if this is legitimate information and if I am wasting my time, youth, finances, everything, or should I be doing something else? This is the thing. If you had a job and you found out that in a couple years, they like to keep people right up until the point they were about to retire, and then they kick them out so they don't have to pay their pension and stuff like that, you'd want to know about that pretty young. You don't want to find out a week before you're about to, retire because they're about to kick you out the company. You would like to find that out as soon as possible. And the way you find that out is talking to people who've been through it, who've done it, who've seen it. Those are the people he's telling you to stay away from. Don't learn about the company's operating procedures. Don't learn about the things that we've done to other people. Make the company look bad. No matter what it does to you, like how it makes you feel and how it destroys your life, that's not important. Only what happens to the organization is important. Does that sound very spiritual to you? No, to me, it don't.
Now, someone might say, I need to get involved in that forum so I can help those people. They shouldn't be together. Even if they aren't apostates, they're not good for one another. Staying in that forum to help someone is like holding his hand while he drinks poison and then having some yourself so he doesn't have to drink alone.
Oh my God, that was the dumbest metaphor. And I give dumb metaphors, but that one was the dumbest by far.
We need to follow the advice recorded at Romans chapter 16 and verse 17. Now think of this imaginary forum that we just described in the light of Romans chapter 16 and verse 17. Now remember, there's all kinds of negative talk flying around in this forum. You don't know who's behind it. And here's what it says in Romans 16, verse 17. Now I urge you, brothers, to keep your eye on those who create divisions and causes for stumbling, contrary to the teaching that you have learned, and avoid them. Now think about that forum. Does it create divisions? Yes. Is it a cause for stumbling? Could be. Is it contrary to what we have learned? Do we even have to answer that question? Now, whether it's intended or not, the effect will be to weaken our faith. So what do? What does Paul tell us to do here at the end of verse 17? He says, avoid them.
Did I just hear what I think I heard? Did David Splain say avoid people who are causing division? Is David Splain an apostate? Spreading apostate thoughts? Avoid people causing division. Do I have to tell him, or is somebody else going to tell him? Because the Jehovah's Witnesses cause division, like, all the time. What do you think the shunning policy is? families coming together. No, that families getting divided. At this point, it's not even division no more. It's just straight up subtraction. No, we don't talk to Johnny anymore. He's disfellowship, so we can divide him. He got straight up subtracted out of his family. Are you kidding? Avoid people who cause division. He's literally telling you to stay away from certain people right now. I'm at a loss for words. I didn't know he had apostate views. The Jehovah Witnesses have been known for a long time to cause divisions, especially in families. When you become a Jehovah Witness, the first thing they tell you to do is start, you might start cutting off worldly people. You're going to have to spend less time with them. You ain't going to be able to go out as much as you wanted to or you used to because they're worldly. We have to divide ourselves from the worldly people. We have to divide ourselves from family members who refuse to become Jehovah Witnesses and people who did become Jehovah Witnesses that no longer want to be Jehovah Witnesses, or we're going to divide them too. You can actually subtract them. This is my point. If you can't see the obvious hypocrisy, the gaslighting, the utter disrespect for people's common sense in these comments, I don't know what to tell you. Avoid people who cause division. Avoid organizations that cause division. He read it in the Bible. I did. He did that. He pulled out his Bible and he read that, and it's supposed to support what he's saying. Avoid division in chat rooms. I'm sure that's what they were writing in the Bible, right? One day there's going to be chat room. They're going to be saying some pretty negative things that's going to cause division. No, those chat rooms aren't causing divisions. They're causing questions. Your policies and your things you've done to people, that cause people to divide themselves up out of the organization or subtract themselves up out of the organization. Not the forums. But even if it were, if you're on one hand dividing people's families up and dividing people's relationships up with other people based on whether or not they are or are not Jehovah Witnesses, then how can you have a problem with division in this area?
Now, I'd like to say a kind word to some who may be involved in discussion forums. You may like to use this medium to blow off steam, so to speak. Maybe there are little things in the congregation that are happening that you wonder about, or decisions the elders have made that you wonder about, and so you get involved in the forum and you blow off steam, and after that you feel better. But what about others in the forum? How do they feel? Wouldn't you feel awful if negative comments you made were responsible for someone leaving the truth? I know you wouldn't want that to happen. So please, be careful about what you say.
Okay, here we go again. If you didn't notice, quite clearly, Dave explained telling you to shut the hell up. If you didn't notice, if you have any grievances, if you have any complaints, the best place to put them is deep down inside of you personally. Bury them deep and never let them see the light of day. Because you airing your grievances apparently is very bad. He doesn't mention whether or not they're legit, because you could be bringing somebody else out of the truth. You can cause somebody to stumble and leave the truth. That's not your goal. It doesn't really matter if that was your goal or not. You should be able to speak about things you have a problem with. Usually people who want to help would address those issues, try to get them to a point to whereas it's no longer an issue. They try to fix them. But he, in no uncertain terms, is not talking about fixing your problems. He's trying to tell you to swallow them up and never let them see the light of day. Does that sound like somebody who's trying to help you? Once again, he called this stuff poison. And he's not calling it poison because it's poison. He's calling it poison because if he can get you to believe that it's anywhere near actual poison, you'll be scared to touch it. He's trying to scare you away from the actual truth or from actual information.
Now, another person might say, well, I can see where those warnings about apostates apply to so-and-so. He's weak, but don't worry about me. I'm spiritually strong. I can handle it. That's like a weightlifter, thinking that he can drink a vial of poison and it won't hurt him because he's so big and strong. We are not so strong, so spiritual, so intelligent, that we can't be affected by the poison of apostate ideas.
I find these comments actually pretty funny too, because there are certain people inside of the Watchtower and Bible and Tract Society whose job it is to monitor ex-Jehovah Witnesses, YouTube channels, information we putting out, specifically so they can be sued. Like, you can ask other ExJWs, whenever something is used and it's not used in the appropriate way and it could be considered copyright infringement, the Jehovah Witnesses are on it. Trust me, they're monitoring ex-Jehovah Witnesses and they're monitoring the stuff that we put out and we say. That's why we got to put up little things in the beginning of our videos to let people know this is fair usage, you know what I mean? So we can do this without fear of legal persecution that comes from the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society from using their material. So they watch ex-Jehovah Witness videos. They listen and look at ex-Jehovah Witness material. They do it pretty regularly and routinely, and they're not being awakened. I guess they are strong enough to drink poison. But the point is this: it shows that they have rules for the people inside the organization and they have rules for themselves. Because the rules they have for themselves, they can watch as much ExJW content as they want because they're going to just ignore it and go with whatever they thought anyway. They're not going to actually take it to heart. They're going to use it to try to stop the ExJW message. They're going to try to sue people. They're going to try to disenfranchise anybody who is not singing the praise of the organization while using their information. If they can, that's what they're going to do. So I just find it funny that he would try to say that, you know, people aren't strong enough to listen to ex-Jehovah Witness content and come out the other side unscathed. Like, there's been plenty of people who I've told in detail exactly what's wrong with the organization, and they still believe what they believe. But I guess if you're trying to fool a bunch of people, you gotta nip it at the bud.
Now, when might we feel pressured to read something that the apostates have written? Consider this scenario. The unbelieving husband of your Bible student sends his wife a link to an apostate web page and says, "Here, you better look at this and see what you're getting into." Well, your student is concerned, and she wants you to take a look and tell her what you think. Well, that's not an option. Paul says, avoid them. That doesn't mean reading apostate literature or searching social media to see what they're saying about us. So what do you say to your student? You might say something like this: I can imagine that this is very upsetting for you, and you certainly do need to know what you're getting into. I have a suggestion. We have nothing to hide. When you're at the meetings, listen carefully to what the brothers are saying. Watch how we interact with one another. Take note of how the organization is financed. Get to know the elders, their wives. Introduce yourself to the circuit overseer and his wife when they come. Visit world headquarters of the branch. I'll come with you. I'll help you. And I want you to get really acquainted with the organization. And if you do, I'm sure you'll soon realize that what the people are saying about us isn't true.
Okay, so again, I want you to notice they're driving people toward situations that they can control. They control what goes on in the meeting. They pretty much know how their circuit overseers and wives are going to behave. They know exactly what image they've worked and spent tons of money, time, and brainwashing years to get to. They know their product, and they basically are trying to gear people not to ask questions, because instead of answering questions, they'd rather just say, oh, just come look, don't everything look nice? It looks nice, right? That's like you going inside of a house, right? And you see the pictures online, you're like, wow, that place looks like it's really nice. But then when you get inside of the house, there's this horrible, horrible smell, almost as if a sewer pipe burst under the ground. So while you're inside of this house, it looks beautiful, right? Look at the new molding on the floors and on the walls, and look at the new kitchen, look at the new bathroom. This place looks amazing. Just ignore that horrible, horrible smell. He's telling you to go and experience the organization, right? But ignore the smell from all the people who were in there and all the people who talk about what happened when they were in there. They're trying to get you to just look at the pictures and not actually sit there and ask the question, what the hell is that smell?
Well, maybe you can think of a better answer, but you get the idea. Just a few drops of poison in a drink are enough to cause serious harm. And apostates often mix a few truths with lies.
Yeah, let's talk about mixing in a little truth with a bunch of falseness. The Jehovah's Witnesses have a very aggressive tactic of dealing with people who are disfellowshipped or people who no longer want to be a Jehovah's Witness. Basically, if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you decide to no longer be a Jehovah's Witness and you're not at home with your parents anymore, they specifically instruct your parents not to have any contact with you. Here's proof of that right here.
I tried to contact them. I just wanted to talk and to hear their voice. I missed being with my family. And they thought about reaching out to me. But they knew that if they had associated with me, even a little, just to check on me, that small dose of association might have satisfied me.
That shows you their policy is to not have anything to do with anyone who is no longer a Jehovah's Witness or who gets disfellowshipped and gets kicked out of the organization. Now, I say that because this is what they said in court.
As I point out at paragraph 22 of my factum, the nature of the relationship then of a disfellowshipped person is not completely shunned. The disfellowshipped person is able to come into the congregation, to the congregation meetings. They're able to attend in the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. They're able to sit wherever they like. They can sing the spiritual songs with the congregation. As far as their family members are concerned, normal family relations continue with the exception of spiritual fellowship.
I think I want to play that part again.
Normal family relations continue with the exception of spiritual fellowship.
Now, I want you to pay attention to that because if you notice, he mixed in a little bit of truth with a lot of falsehood.
Apostates often mix a few truths with lies.
Because basically, they're trying to mislead the court system. Because apparently, they're not going to, be vigilant and just come right out and say, look, I'm sorry, Jehovah said to not have anything to do with disfellowship people. That's our policy. We're not changing it. Because that will cause them to lose money. So instead, they lie. They tell half-truths. They mislead. They're doing all the things that they're accusing people who are ex-members of the organization of doing. And it's simply causing a headache. Like my head is throbbing just listening to how hypocritical this guy is.
Does it surprise you that a demon will get involved in the debate between Job and the false comforters? It shouldn't. This was no small debate. It was a big issue. Satan had challenged Jehovah in the presence of all the angels that no man would keep his integrity under test. That demon was using Eliphaz to demoralize Job and weaken his faith.
All right, the demons have officially entered the discussion. I don't know how else to say this, but you may be getting the same vibes that any normal person would get. And he's using fear-mongering tactic after fear-mongering tactic after fear-mongering tactic, not to help you, but to steer you clear of information. So far, he's called the information rotten. He's called it poison. Now, it's from the demons. He's not addressing what the issue is and what people are talking about. He's just straight up trying to get you to avoid it. His goal isn't to address it. His goal is to get you to avoid it. This is the thing. People are not dumb. If you have the ability to go to work every day and support yourself and your family financially, pay your bills and do stuff like that and figure out and to overcome issues and problems like that, you're smart enough to disseminate information. You're good. You don't need any help. You don't need somebody holding your hand and telling you, listen to this, but don't listen to this. This is good, but that's bad. Oh, the demons are there. This is poison. This is right. You don't need none of that. You're perfectly capable of hearing information and deciding whether or not it's true, it's fake, or you need to look into it first. You're perfectly able to do that. That's well within your capability. So why is he actively trying to scare people away from just information? Doesn't the Bible say, test me and see if I'm not good? Where's the test? He's saying don't even take the test. Throw it out the window. We'll give you a test. It's already passed. We'll just take the test for you.
Now, let's consider the second challenge we face. Negative reports about Jehovah's Witnesses in the media. Now, here's a good principle to follow. Proverbs 14 and verse 15. It says the naive person believes every word, but the shrewd one ponders each step. Some people believe everything they read in the newspaper or see on TV. Do you? Should you?
The hypocrisy is stunning. Like, is he even hearing himself talk? You're telling people not to just believe something just because one person said it, but to all be shrewd, like do research. Don't just believe something just because you read it somewhere. But you're also saying believe everything we say, though. Like, you're telling them on the one hand, don't believe everything you read, but believe everything we write.
Consider this. Now, you're working from door to door, and you meet a householder who says, you Jehovah's Witnesses are terrible people. You let your children die. You don't accept medical treatment. Well, you ask the householder, do you know any of Jehovah's Witnesses personally? No. Then where did you get the idea that we let our children die and don't accept medical treatment? The householder says, I have it on good authority. I read it in the newspaper. Well, if it's in the newspaper, it must be true, right? Not necessarily.
Yeah, all of those things are accurate. And here we go again. We have another hypocritical example of him giving a half-truth, right? Mixing in a little bit of truth with a bunch of lies. The same thing he just accused the apostates of doing. We don't let our children die. I mean, unless they need a blood transfusion, then, sorry. But we don't refuse medical treatment. Unless it's a blood transfusion, then it's, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I mean, the hypocrisy is incredible.
Remember this. Reporters have a deadline to meet, and a reporter may not have the time or the inclination to check the facts. Or the reporter may have written a balanced article, but then the editor changes it. Maybe the editor doesn't like Jehovah's Witnesses, or he's been misinformed about us. Now, it's bad enough if people in the world believe everything they read in the newspaper, but brothers, let's not be among them. Let's not be naive. Let's consider things carefully. Similarly, sometimes there's a TV program about Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, a few of these programs are balanced and fair. Many, or I dare say most, are not. And when they're not, you'll often find that the producers started out with a negative view of Jehovah's Witnesses, and then they looked for information to support their prejudice. So, whom did they turn to? Apostates and the clergy. From them, they got suggestions for people to interview, and we know what those people would say. At the very last minute, they may ask the brothers for comment just to give an appearance of fairness, but the program wasn't designed to be fair. It was designed to be unfair. It was slanted against Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, let's be clear. Some news organizations are very conscientious about their reporting, and they want to present both sides of an issue. And when Jehovah's Witnesses are concerned, they do so at their cost. If a newspaper publishes anything positive about us, the churches will push back. Our parishioners are upset. They subscribe to your newspaper, and they don't like reading favorable things about Jehovah's Witnesses. The message? If it ever happens again, you're going to lose subscribers.
I thought this would be a good time to just check in and let you know that they're not saying don't listen to the media. They're saying don't listen to negative coverage in the media, because they have coverage in the media. And when it's positive, yeah, don't listen as much as you want, take it all in. It's all true. It's all great. But when it's negative, then it's, you can't believe everything you read, I wish I could do that in my personal life. Oh, yeah, baby, if you hear anything negative about me, you can just ignore that because it's not true. But anything positive you hear about me, yeah, you better believe it. You better believe it. I wish I could do that in my life. I just can't, because people are reasonable, This only works with unreasonable people.
Some government officials are taken in. They believe the slanderous accusations of the apostates. Now, if they just take the time to check the facts, They'd see that they're being lied to, but they don't check the facts. Now again, it's bad enough, brothers, when government officials are taken in by false reports. Don't you be taken in. Have you ever heard the expression trial by media? It works like this. Someone's charged with a crime, and the case is widely publicized in the media, and the media present the case in such a way that everyone who hears about it thinks the man is guilty. Of course, to avoid a lawsuit for slander or libel, these media reports are very carefully worded. Does it mean that if we learn that apostates are going to be featured on a TV program, we should watch it to see if what they say is true? No. It basically means to consider the source of the words. If they are the words of apostates, why would we believe them?
Okay, so basically, once somebody leaves the organization, they're no longer capable of telling the truth and being fair. Think about that. Just let it bounce around your head a little bit. Once somebody leaves the organization, the Jehovah Witness organization, and gives a recount of their life inside of the organization, they can no longer be fair or honest about it. This is straight up hypocrisy. Just straight up. Not to mention when he said like trial by media, where basically they put out something and they keep putting it out, and the next thing you know, the masses believe it because they kept hearing it. I find that incredibly, of course, hypocritical. Here you go, that word again. Because every single day inside the organization, they're telling you apostates are dangerous, apostates are evil, apostates are horrible, don't listen to them, they can only lie, they're bad, they're poison, they're rot from inside. He tells you all that stuff, and they tell you all that stuff the entire time you're a Jehovah Witness. It's literally trial by media. It's trial by media. It's what he's accusing the apostates of. It's what they do. If you notice through the entire video, like it's automatically assumed and known that when it comes to apostates, they're bad. Do you know why the Jehovah Witnesses feel that way? It's because the entire time they've been Jehovah Witnesses, they were told that apostates are bad, don't have anything to do with them, don't talk to them, don't listen to them. If they're on TV, change the channel, like he just said. Have nothing to do, shut the message down. Don't ever let the message get out. If he's telling you that trial by media is bad, then why is the organization doing it?
Now think of it this way. You have a bottle on your shelf that's marked poison. Do you need to open it up, take a swig, to see if it really is poison? Believe what the label says.
Believe what the label says. So basically, anything I put a label on that's marked poison, people will not drink it. I get it, yeah. If something is marked as poison, yeah, you definitely shouldn't drink it. But also, that literally would give me the power to control what everybody around me drinks. All I need is a label making machine. And in this case, wouldn't he be that label making machine? If he gets to freely just put labels on whatever, yeah, this is poison, this is poison, this is good. Yeah, Jehovah Witness made by the governing body, yeah, that's drinkable. Throw it back. But yeah, this is poison, this is poison, this is poison. Like if you have the label printing machine, you don't need to tell people it's poison. You just throw a label on there and tell them to believe the label.
Now, for the purpose of this discussion, let's consider another way we can test out words, and that is to pay attention to what the words mean. Remember, we talked about media reports and how these are very often carefully worded to avoid a lawsuit. So suppose a report indicates that someone has been charged with a crime or that he's being investigated. All right, you have two words, charged and investigated. It doesn't mean he's guilty. Or suppose that someone is convicted and put in jail. Well, that would apply to our young brothers in Korea, wouldn't it? They were convicted and jailed. And what was their crime? They refused to kill someone. Did they do anything wrong? Or someone is found guilty by men, as Jesus was. It doesn't mean that he's guilty in the sight of God. So, brothers, we really have to think about these things. We may read that a person or an organization was sued and then settled out of court. Does settling out of court mean that they were guilty? Not necessarily.
Okay, I find it funny that he says, listen to the wording, like they're trying to use words to manipulate what people believe and think. Because that's what he's doing yet again. Yes, they're being sued. Yes, they're losing court cases. Yes, they have to pay restitutions to people. And yeah, they're guilty. Like, the media companies aren't trying to make them look bad or anything like that. This is actually happening. The problem is they don't like negative news. And now they can't hide this stuff anymore. So they're attempting to divert the attention away. And they're trying to make it okay. Because, like I said, they can't keep information from people. And with the internet, it's been getting harder and harder and harder, because when something happens, it gets out and people hear about it. So now they're trying to steer people away from the information itself. This is crazy. And it's obvious. It's not even like you gotta listen to me and I gotta make some amazing point for you to get what I'm saying. Just watch the video. Listen to what he's saying. Pay attention. You don't even need to pay close attention. You can clip your toenails or something while you're listening, and you'll still be like, what y'all done did now? Y'all getting sued, and now you're trying to yeah, we paid restitutions and stuff, but that don't mean we guilty. I don't know innocent people that pay restitutions. Maybe it happens. I don't know. But the point is this, quite simply. They've been doing dirt. It's all over. And they're trying to cover it up. And the media is reporting on it.
Now, in this country and others, court cases are often handled by a jury. Now, who are on the jury? Ordinary citizens with no legal training. But not only that, these ordinary citizens don't always have access to all the facts, because the judge and lawyers decide which facts will be shared with the jury. So it's unlikely that the whole truth will ever come out in court. Actually, neither side probably wants the whole truth to come out in court. Now, sometimes attorneys deliberately withhold information that would be prejudicial to their clients. And in addition, the juries have prejudices like everyone else, and some of them just can't set their prejudices aside. I'll tell you an actual experience. Some time ago, a lawyer told me about a case he had. That was a case of medical malpractice by a doctor. There was a jury, and at trial, the doctor was clearly shown to be in the wrong, but the jury didn't give the patient a penny. The lawyer was confused, so after the trial, he approached two of the jurors and asked, "If you don't mind, tell me which part of the testimony you didn't believe." The jurors replied, "Oh, we didn't get that far. The doctor was cute, and we didn't want him to have to pay anything." With deep thinkers like that, no wonder many lawyers try to settle their cases rather than bring them to a jury.
What? What?
But someone will say, "No, I don't believe in settling out of court. I believe in justice and truth." So that brings up the question, is it wrong to settle a matter before it goes to trial? Or is it scriptural? Let's let Jesus answer that question. Turn to Matthew chapter 5, verses 25 and 26. Be quick to settle matters with your legal opponent while you are with him on the way there, so that somehow the opponent may not turn you over to the judge, and the judge to the court attendant, and you get thrown into prison. I say to you for a fact, you will certainly not come out of there until you have paid over your last small coin. So when Jesus talks about prison and a judge, he's obviously referring to what a Gentile judge would do. Now, you couldn't necessarily expect justice from him. Why might he rule against our brother? Well, maybe he got paid under the table by the other party. Or maybe he was prejudiced against the race or the religion of the other party. Now notice, Jesus didn't say that the man should settle only if he was guilty. So, brothers, let's not be naive. Don't believe everything you read. Just because an article is called a news report doesn't make it true. And an editorial is someone's opinion, and that someone may be wrong. And TV producers may have their own agenda, prejudice, and viewpoint. So, what do we say in revision? In conclusion, our faith is under attack, and we have to fight. And Jehovah gives us what we need to fight with. One of the things he gives us? Good associations. Satan will try to lure us away from good associations. He'll try to weaken our faith by getting us involved in bad association without our knowing it. But Jehovah provides good association in the congregation. These are people we know. These are people we love. These are people who have our best interests at heart. Keep in mind the principle we find at Proverbs 13 and verse 20. The one walking with the wise will become wise, but the one who has dealings with the stupid will fare badly. You know the members of your congregation. You know that they are wise. You know that they have your best interests at heart. But if you get involved in a forum, you might not know whether you're walking with wise persons or not, at least not at first. So be careful. If the conversation turns negative, get out. Satan is behind the twisted teachings of apostates. He's the father of the lie. And those who lie are doing exactly what their father does. The apostates have nothing to offer us, brothers. All they have to offer is hate. All they have to offer is criticism and negative talk. But oh, how upbuilt we feel when we're with those who love Jehovah. So Jehovah provides us with good, wholesome associations. He also provides us with his word of truth, and an accurate knowledge of the truth is the best defense against apostasy. Read the Bible every day and meditate on it. Pay attention to the words. Pay attention to what they mean. What do we know about the Thessalonians? Well, they didn't have YouTube in those days. But at one point, the Thessalonians apparently heard a rumor that the day of Jehovah had arrived. Who circulated the rumor? An apostate? Maybe. But maybe it was just someone who had heard the rumor and passed it on without checking it out. Have you ever done that? Passed on a report without checking the facts? I think all of us have to admit that we've been guilty of that at one time or another. But now, how did the Thessalonians react? They were alarmed. They were quickly shaken from their reason. We mustn't let that happen to us. When you hear something, check it out. Don't just circulate it. Don't just believe it. Check it out. If we're stabilized in the faith, we won't be quickly shaken by unfounded accusations by apostates or the media. False rumors are often spread during wartime. Brothers, this is war. We need to put up a hard fight for the faith as if our life depended on it, because it does.
This means war! This is not war. This is desperation. The organization is losing members left and right because they are being attacked. And by attack, I mean information that they were once able to confine and hold is getting out. And the more information gets out, the more people learn about it, and the more people speak out. The more people say, that's not okay. I don't like that. That is wrong and manipulative. That's gaslighting. That's horrible. And that's just downright wrong and evil. Because when people see and hear horrible things, it's very hard for them to just keep it inside. That's why people talk. And if you notice, they're saying all through this video, stop talking, stop listening, because that's the only way they can control the information and come out looking good. Because as long as people listen and talk and the word gets spread around, the worse they look. Notice they said, good information, good media coverage. Oh, if it's fair and balanced, you can listen to it. Meaning that if it's good media coverage, you can listen. But if it's negative media coverage, cut it out. Don't even listen. So, in conclusion, you have an entire life ahead of you, and you get to make your own choices. But I do want you to pay attention to one very, very, very important thing. I'm telling you to listen to everything he's saying and think about it. Listen to how he's saying it and think about why he's saying it. And the thing that I want you to also listen to is that he's telling you not to listen to me. I'm telling you to listen and use your mind and, come up with a reason and be honest with yourself. If he's telling you, don't even give me a chance, don't even turn it on. And it's important that you are able to notice that difference. It's very, very important. Your happiness and your future and so much more is tied to this religion. So if you're going to make choices regarding this religion, you need to know all the facts.
Now, if they just take the time to check the facts.
And at the end of the day, live with the decision you make, staying in or going out. But you need to have all the information in order to make that decision. This is how any decision works. You have your entire life of information given to you, and by a certain age, you make better decisions than you would have when you had less information. I'm telling you, get all the information. He's telling you, get the information we give you. Like if you want to buy a car, would you get only information from the person selling you the car? If you're trying to buy a house, would you accept only the information of the person selling you the house? Or would you want information from other sources? And put it all together and then make a decision. Something that I used to always say is, whenever you're searching for a hidden treasure, because that's what it says, like, search for God the same way you would for a hidden treasure. Search for the truth the same way you would a hidden treasure. I like to think about that because the way you search for a hidden treasure is you have to ask around. You ask this person over here, and they'll put you in the vicinity of the treasure. They can't tell you exactly where it's at because if they knew exactly where the treasure was, when you get there, it wouldn't be there because they would have taken it themselves. Nobody leaves a treasure. But to actually find the hidden treasure, you take all the information, you get in the vicinity, but then you have to do the actual physical digging in order to find exactly where that treasure is. And you couldn't have found it without getting all the information. And then, in the end, digging for it yourself. Because if you go out and you get 100 other people to dig with you, then you're going to have to split that treasure 100 ways. You maybe want to get 1 or 2 other people to split it with, but chances are a lot of people will just, I'll find it myself and split it with myself. Like that's how treasure hunts go usually. But the point is, get the information. And if people are out here hiding information from you or trying to control the information you take in, that should be a red flag. It's your boy Jay the Comedian. I hope y'all having a great day. I'm having a great day. Holla at your guala. Deuces.
If they just take the time to check the facts, they'd see that they're being lied to, but they don't check the facts. When you hear something, check it out. Don't just circulate it, don't just believe it, check it out.